This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you for joining us this Wednesday, September 9th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, President Donald Trump back on the campaign trail again on the offense against Joe Biden on the issue of law and order, as we take a look at why critics say America's universities have become indoctrination centers for left-wing radicalism. And the president, in a surprise development, nominated today for a Nobel Peace Prize. We're going to tell you why he got that honor. More revival meetings despite government restrictions, Christians going ahead with gospel meetings. We're going to hear from worship leader Sean Foyt. And remembering Chadwick Boseman, the actor who died tragically young, but leaving behind a strong legacy. All those stories and more ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with President Donald Trump back on the campaign trail in the key swing state of North Carolina last night, once again taking up the issue of law and order and criticizing his Democratic opponent, Joe Biden.
We're starting to say, no, we need law and order. No, he didn't say that, did he? He'll never get to say that. He can't say that because then it'd lose the whole left. And let me tell you, the left is running that party. You take a look. You don't want to be dealing with the left. These people are stone cold crazy. My heart is with the hardworking patriots of all backgrounds who build up our communities, not the violent criminals and extremists and agitators and anarchists who burn them down.
The president leads Biden in polling over the issue of law and order. I want to take a look at now where the left-wing ideology is coming from that is spilling into our streets. Some critics say America's college campuses have turned into training camps for radicals, indoctrinating them into far-left views. Aldir Hurd reports.
If these campus protesters look like these street rioters, there's a good reason. College campuses were the ideological breeding ground for this violence, teaching students to hate America and demand revolution. Many colleges and universities have become very successful training camps for radicals, the kind of radicals who are burning American cities and fighting the police. Portland State philosophy professor Peter Boseman says college campuses are, without question, the source of the woke movement behind the riots in American cities.
100% of it. Absolutely, categorically, and unequivocally, the universities are cranking out utter madness.
College professors have been among those arrested in the rioting. Professor Aaron Thompson at the City University of New York tweeted this advice to rioters pulling down statues. Use chain instead of rope, and it'll go faster.
I've actually been there in the midst of many of these protest riots. I've seen it up close and personal, and many of the rioters are indistinguishable from the people you see on campus.
Cabot Phillips is editor-in-chief at Campus Reform.
Because there have been so few consequences when they do go out onto these campuses and riot and protest, they've been able to test out what works. They've been able to see how they can create the most destruction, get the most outrage, and then carry that out into cities around the country.
The radical movement that used to be confined to some academic departments now dominates whole campuses. Cal Riverside professor Reza Aslan says all Trump backers are white nationalist terror supporters who must be eradicated from society. University of California, Santa Barbara religion professor Timothy Snedeker tweeted that if he had a time machine, he would go back and assassinate Jesus.
It's not just the ruling ideology, it's the dominant moral orthodoxy in virtually every campus that's now spilled out into, it's everything. It's tech, it's media, it's CNN, it's completely woke.
We never thought the craziness, the absolute insanity that we saw on campus would amount to anything. And what we didn't realize is that the campus moved into the culture.
Cornell law professor William Jacobson has been censured by his dean and formally denounced by 21 Cornell faculty members for speaking out against the rioting and Black Lives Matter. But the most tragic recent case of campus persecution of conservatives is UNC Wilmington criminology professor Mike Adams. A Christian, he was a guest on the 700 Club. Hounded by the left for years, Adams killed himself last month. Boseman says woke ideology on college campuses is now a civilizational threat, and he thinks it may be too late to save the university system.
I used to think 3-4 years ago that if we just defunded certain departments, we could stave this off a little bit. We're well beyond that now. Now I think that the whole system it has to be bulldozed.
American taxpayers have subsidized a university system that teaches that the U.S. government is fundamentally evil and must be torn down. And that is exactly what rioters are trying to do. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
An unexpected honor for President Trump today. He's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize after his administration helped to broker the peace agreement between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, which was announced last month. Fox News reports in his nomination letter to the Nobel Committee, a Norwegian parliament member wrote the Trump administration played a key role in the agreement, saying as it is expected other Middle Eastern countries will follow in the footsteps of the UAE. This agreement could be a game changer that will turn the Middle East into a region of cooperation and prosperity. Israel and the UAE will sign the deal at a White House ceremony next Tuesday. Israeli police are testing a new weapon to defend itself against the terror threat of explosive balloons sent across the border with Gaza. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl brings us this story.
Just outside the Gaza Strip area where we're located, the border police are activating a new laser-guided system that is capable of shooting down balloons.
And that protection is greatly needed. For more than 2 years, terrorists have attacked Israel, destroying land by sending fire kites and balloons packed with explosives across the border. In the past month alone, it has led to 450 fires in southern Israel. Fortunately, the new laser system deployed by Israeli police is succeeding against this threat.
And until now, the latest new guided system has a success rate of more than 90% of shooting down the balloons. And we're doing that in order to prevent them from exploding inside community areas and causing injuries or possibly killing people.
The system is designed to work alongside aircraft. Ben-Gurion University professor Amiel Ishaya says the laser system could have an even greater use beyond Israel.
We don't see any other balloon threat in the world except for here, maybe in South Korea or North Korea or between that border. But the main business we see in it is anti-drone. And anti-drone is a big worldwide threat that is coming up.
Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip, recently announced a ceasefire so Israel would restore critical fuel shipments to Gaza. If the past is any indication, Israelis realize ceasefires don't last very long. That's why the laser system is such a godsend. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Back here at home in California, fierce winds have been fanning the flames of those massive wildfires. The state setting a record for the number of acres burned. Charlene Aaron is on this story.
More than 85 wildfires are scorching hundreds of thousands of acres across the West Coast. Strong winds, record heat, and dry conditions are fueling at least 25 large wildfires in California alone. So-called Diablo winds in the north and Santa Ana winds in the south, making it difficult for firefighters to battle the blazes.
We've got fires burning from in the north part of the state all the way to the Mexican border, about 800 miles between the furthest distant fires.
The Dolan fire in Monterey County nearly doubling in size overnight. More than a dozen firefighters were forced to deploy emergency shelters as flames overtook them, something only used when their lives are in immediate danger. 3 were flown to a hospital in Fresno, 1 in critical condition. Thousands forced to flee their homes.
We're in uncharted territory with the amount of evacuations and with the speed of the fire.
It's not just in California. Hurricane-force winds in the Pacific Northwest are fueling more fires. In Oregon, a state of emergency declared as 36 wildfires burn across the state. Residents had only minutes to evacuate the town of Malden, where cars were destroyed and homes burned to the foundation.
It was surreal. It was like, you can't believe how fast. I still can't fathom how quickly it traveled.
Meanwhile, California has already set a record with nearly 2.3 million acres burned this year. And the worst part of the wildfire season is just beginning. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Coming up, revival meetings on the West Coast despite some government restrictions. We're going to hear from worship leader Sean Foyt about how God moved in these meetings when we come back.
if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Thousands of Christians gathered at the California state capitol to worship God over the weekend, despite state restrictions on them. And there's a similar story out of Seattle. Missionary, worship leader, and founder of Hold the Line, Sean Foyt, spoke with CBN's Mark Martin about what God did at these events. Mark began by asking Sean to talk about what happened at the California state capitol rally.
It was just so amazing. We gathered on the steps of the Capitol in Sacramento. We had the Capitol Police estimate over 12,000 people showed up. When we started worship, it was 111 degrees out. Wild.
Wow, I'm looking at video of it, an aerial shot. It's just amazing, all of the people there. I mean, what was that experience like to actually be leading this worship service?
Well, it's just amazing, what the Lord started, a month and a half ago on the Golden Gate Bridge, just after the lockdown and after the governor of our state said the church can't sing indoors. God has just been breathing on this. And I just feel like, it reminded me of that Billy Graham quote, where he said that when a courageous man takes a stand, the spines of everyone else are stiffened. And to be able to get 12,000 people to come out without a marketing plan, just total grassroots guerrilla organization, it just shows that people, there's a courageous church rising in California that refuses to be silenced.
Tell us what happened in Seattle, Sean, and how your group worked around attempts to actually stop the worship.
Yeah, I just returned last night from Seattle, and yesterday on 4th Street in Seattle, Antifa terrorists threw Molotov cocktails at the police. And you would think the city would be concerned about that, but instead they wasted their efforts on barricading the Gasworks Park, which is one of their really beautiful parks there in the city. They closed off the entire park with a chain link fence all around the whole thing and locks to prevent us from worshiping in that park. And so when we showed up, we weren't able to get through the barricades they set up. And so we found a construction site right next to the park where there was a bulldozer that was blocking the road. And we thought this will be the perfect backdrop for an epic worship gathering. And so last night we had, we called it a worship protest, which apparently, and now it makes it legal in Seattle. And we had over 2,000 people that showed up. It was so powerful. The Spirit of God moved.
Awesome, awesome. What do you see God doing on the West Coast and hopefully across America through all of this?
You know, I think it's really unique. We've been able to travel across America and host these in different cities, and even in New York and Boston and all over. But something profound is taking place on the West Coast. And, you know, one of the things I felt like the Lord called me to declare in this season is that this is a new Jesus People movement. And I really believe that these strict, godless politicians that are releasing these mandates to silence the church, you know, it's like what happens in persecuted nations. It only makes the church stronger. You know, it's actually provoking the church on the West Coast. You know, we've been all over Washington, Oregon, and California, and people are over it. They are ready to take a stand. And I am seeing the miracles, the signs and wonders, the salvations. Every time we do something on the West Coast, thousands of people show up. And it is a profound move of God.
And I guess the plans are in the works for other worship services.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be going heading to Colorado this weekend, and then we're gonna be actually targeting Kenosha, Wisconsin, Chicago, Minneapolis. We're going into these places where there's been rioting and unrest, invited by pastors to bring worship, to break off that violence, and to bring hope. And then the whole thing's going to culminate on October 25th in Washington, D.C. I want everybody to come.
Still ahead, unforgettable words from the man who brought Black Panther to life. We're taking a look at the faith of the late Chadwick Boseman and some of the inspiration behind his iconic role. Stay with us.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Graduating class, hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it.
Unforgettable words from actor Chadwick Boseman at Howard University's Commencement following his portrayal of Black Panther in 2018 and even as he battled colon cancer. Chadwick's wife, castmates met in Malibu this weekend to mourn and remember him 9 days after he lost that private battle against colon cancer. Lupita Nyong'o also penned an emotional tribute to him on her social media channels. In his honor, Studio 5 looks back at our conversation with the actor prior to Black Panther's release.
Let's go!
Hey, look at your suit. You've been taking bullets, charging it up with kinetic energy.
Put her around the truck. Ready, go!
The voice of Black Panther, what was the inspiration for that?
Shuri!
Gaza!
Turn on the train on the bottom track.
The stabilizers won't deactivate your suit. You won't have protection.
Neither will he.
You know, I spent time listening to accents and dialects from all over the continent, and I narrowed it down to ones that I felt like could have a smoothness and melodic sound, you know, that could carry sort of a cowboy feel to it at certain moments and carry a certain amount of swag to it. That's what I was looking for. And so I felt it was important to have that African accent, because if we were being true to what Wakanda is and they haven't been conquered, he would have to speak to his people in their language and in their sound. So you know, it was important to me to have that and be true to that.
This film is special on so many levels. Do you feel that going in?
Yes. No, I knew just in the novelty of it, you know, the fact that it is the first Black superhero movie on this platform. I knew that there was something there, but I also knew that the world of Wakanda, the fact that it nods to what you know, ancient civilization, African empires, you can pull from many different places. And instead of generalizing things, to be specific and say, I'm going to pull from this great thing from this country, and this great thing from this leader, and this great thing from this warrior tribe. It's like you can pull from all the best things. So I knew that's what had been set up by the writers, the various writers. I knew that this could be, you know, an amazing film.
And we have a Studio 5 special dedicated to the life of Chadwick Boseman. It's online right now at cbn.com/Studio 5. Tonight on Studio 5, we're sitting down with artist and activist Anthony Reed Jr., better known in the art world as Mojo. And worship leader Hope Darsh joins us with the story behind her very first album at age 40. You can catch it all right here on Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Coming up, a Christian prayer leader explains what he believes God's prescription for America is and how he's helping to carry it out. Stay with us.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
COVID-19, destructive protest, and growing violence in our streets. America is in desperate conditions right now, but prayer leader Lou Engle says when there is no hope for a nation, God has a holy prescription. Lou has called for 40 days of prayer and fasting for America, and he recently explained to CBN News what confirmed his decision to do it.
I said, Lord, I'm not going to call this fast. I've done too many. And I said, but please, I know this is the most critical election, and we're in a moment where we must have great revival that heals the races. And I said, Lord, you've got to confirm to me. And I had a dream. And I had a dream that in the dream I was with President Trump, and he was bearing his heart. I could feel his loneliness. I felt the trauma, the crisis. And in the dream, I simply poured out my heart, and I said, I am going to pour out my soul for 40 days of fasting for you and for America. And I woke up and I knew that was my confirmation. I don't know how many will do it, but I'm going to blow the trumpet because America needs help now.
And that fast continues now until October 11th. To learn how you can take part, simply go to cbnnews.com. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is bold. Now is not the time to retreat. It is time to rise up, be bold, be strong, be courageous, and walk in faith. And you can do all of this knowing God is still God, and He is still good. With that word, I encourage you to make this a wonderful Wednesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And we'd love for you to reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We certainly hope you'll join us again right here next time. Again, make it a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.